That man never forgets a single thing you say. That is love, ladies. Find you a man that listens to you, not just hears you, but listens. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and we are back with another reaction to When Life Gives You Tangerines, the Netflix K-drama, and we are now on episode 5, which is called A Midsummer Night's Full Nets. So last episode, we kind of moved a little bit further, like as far as the past, we moved a little bit further, and we got to see kind of the early years of A-sun and Guanxic's marriage, and they were not the easiest, but they did their best. And in the end, they kind of had to break free of Guanxic's family because they were clearly mistreating A-sun, and they were planning to mistreat their daughter as well. So they got their own place, but it too had its challenges. You know, trying to afford to live in a place like that was not easy, particularly when the only people who were running things were all jerks. We ended the episode with Guanxic having to quit his job because A-sun was not going to let him go through that anymore, and then basically having to continue to find their way. And then we saw that somewhere in the middle, because I keep saying in the current day, but it's not. In the current day, A-sun is in her 70s, but we see another kind of flash forward to the 90s where their daughter is an adult and she is struggling with a lot of the same decisions her mother did at one point, and so that's kind of how we ended the episode. So I figure that we're going to continue the story and see where things go for them now that at least in the past we are kind of at this point where A-sun and Guanxic's second child's about to be born. So I'm ready to jump in, but before we do that, a reminder that if you'd like to be in the know of when I drop episodes, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And remember that you can watch this uncut on my Patreon right now if you so choose. All right, out of the way, let's get into the episode right now.
집이랑 얽혀 산다는 걸 누가 관식이를 써?
Are we still out of work?
오로를 또 낸다던데 갈아타라고 해.
Okay.
가당이나 노가다판이나 돈 나오는 밭이 내 밭.
That's true. At this point, you can't afford to be picky. But is it because that guy said he was going to make sure no one hired him? I think that's what happened.
흙 밟고 살만하든.
생전 말을 안 하니까.
He never does say much, actually.
아이 팔은 또 왜?
뭐든 다 기술이 있어야 되더라고.
Yeah, he does have to learn. He was never a laborer.
사람이 시든다.
It's hard. He feels like he's responsible for you guys.
겉절이 이파리보다 아빠 뒤통수가 더 애달팠다고 했다.
He was depressed. That's real. It's got to be so frustrating to feel helpless in supporting your family. And especially because he's got A-sun as a wife who he knows has worked so hard her whole life. I think it means a lot to him to be able to take care of her.
그냥 방학이다 생각해.
안 쉬어봐서
It's true.
이상해.
Yeah, don't know what to do with yourself.
놀면 우리 네 식구 뭐 먹고 살아?
Well, not forever, but a little break don't hurt. Oh, his finger makes me angry.
여차하면 내가 벌면 되지.
You know she can work, and she will if she has to.
양배추 달아요. 한마디를 못하는 문학 소녀가.
That's true. She hated selling cabbages. But she'd do it if she had to. Come on now. The only reason she didn't do it was because you would do it.
한 대박에 1,000원을 더 받았어.
그거를 깎냐? 어? 완전히 아줌마.
Hey, when you're poor, you definitely find ways to get all the savings.
뭐가 다 처음이라. 뭐가 그렇게 다 창피하고 구차스런지.
Well, no one ever wants to feel like they're begging.
주둥이 딱 붙이고 있으면 뭐가 나와? 돈 끌어오는 놈이 염치도
You
챙겨오냐?
guys always you don't make it easy to ask for anything. You're supposed to be family.
지 엄마 야물딱진 것만 닮은 줄 알았더니 주변말인 딱 형이네
I
형.
would smash his head into... Man is such a useless sack of flesh. And all he ever does is... I haven't seen that man work one time.
떡이 비었는데 입이 안 떨어져?
She's kind of right, though. You got to put your pride aside for your babies.
아직도 애기네 애기.
She is. She's like, what, 21 at this point? 24? Not even, yeah, 22, 23. Because she had that baby at 18.
남들은 다 어른 노릇하고 사나.
No, girl. Adulting is the biggest scam. Thank you. Exactly. The ridiculousness that the second you turned 18 or whatever the age of majority is in your country, that suddenly you're an adult now. BS.
자랑 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 우리 애기 잘도
I forgot that's the last memory she has of her mom, too.
아유, 어디까지
Right? Like, ma'am,
양서방도 있는.
you're making me look bad.
배 사라.
뭘 사?
배 한 척 사고 입 꼭 다물어. 뭔 돈으로 샀냐거든. 복권 됐다고 해버려.
Take it. Respectfully, take it. They had you as a maid in that house for how many years? Consider it back wages.
훔쳤어.
내 돈.
No, she just didn't.
내가
She kept it from her
피난 전에
good-for-nothing son.
누구 새끼는 밑빠진 독이라 거기
Thank
내놔서
you.
진작
See?
털렸어.
Smart woman.
우리 엄마가 협박하더라. 이걸로 퉁치자고.
Your mama's a G. We love that.
잡녀가 사진 찍으면 그대로 영정 사진 된다대요.
Damn. And the fact that it actually came true. Oh my God.
그 아까운 걸 놓치고도 내가 여죽지. 새끼 밥 먹고 살았다.
That's how it goes sometimes.
거기서는 셋이 집 안 가고 아주 붙어 있으려고.
Not dating in the afterlife.
그 말 하자고 불렀을 테지.
Yeah.
눈이 감길 턱이 있나.
What else can she do? She's a mom.
애미애비 없는 거. 나이가 이제 10살이요. 때마다 귀찮게 안 해요.
It's true. She's too proud for that.
살다가 그 주변 머리 없는 게 지 할머니 찾아오거든. 오죽 힘들면 그렇게 찾아들거든.
Damn, your mom mean well.
도와줘서.
Mm.
더도 말고 딱 한 번만
fair.
살려줘요.
And that is a very little ask. Wow, that was a heavy, heavy emotion to have when getting your immortal photo taken. I always figured that Grandma was a nice woman, though. Just, unfortunately, the way things were at the time, very hard to stand out and do what you want to do. Go against the wishes of the male people in your house. Because technically her son was the head of the household, not her.
그러니까 냅다 받아라. 나저 내 아들한테 주는 거니까.
She owes you, truthfully. If your dad was alive, like anything he would have inherited should have gone to you.
잘 살게요.
그게 나 원이다.
They needed it. They absolutely needed that. So thank God for Grandma. She came through when it mattered. Because that miserable loser son of hers. Captain Yang, that's right. Wow, all these gifts. Where was this when we were hungry? Respectfully. Okay, are these all blessings one gives about? She's been pregnant forever.
배가 고기를 따라가는 게 아니고 고기가 배를 따라오게 해주시고 예.
Oh, other grandma managed to find her way, huh? Anyways, Yang grandma gets on my damn nerves, but at least she still cares enough about her grandson to pray for him. Oh, I didn't realize I was his mother. How is she celebrating? How did you help, ma'am? Woo, his family has a nerve. If there's anything his family has, it's audacity.
뭘 치다봐.
Exactly.
종구가 장손이요, 종구가. 엄마 제사 지내줄 것도 장손, 가세 주문도 장손.
Okay, then let's wait for him to do that.
장남 딸이다.
Yeah, you seem to keep forgetting that. That's also her grandchild. And her first grandchild. When the Henrios are giving her the side eye, I feel some type of way. Let her know. Thank you. Why you beating drum like you did nothing other than push that man out? That's what we beat the drum to, ma'am. Talk about Yang what? She was devoted daughter-in-law. Now he's smiling.
좋아하는 죽겠냐?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
세상에서 제가 제일 웃겨.
He's happy when she's happy. How can his dad ask him that question? Guan should quit living her skin if he could. Are you kidding? Uh-oh, labor? Labor? Nope. That's the baby. I mean, needed. it's okay, baby. Someone get the baby, please. Where the hell are they going? But I guess having it right there on the seaside, not great. Well, thank you, Grandma, for helping.
진짜 계속 제사도 안 오시게?
제가 애비를 이겨요?
Right? I don't like your ancestors, to be perfectly honest.
라고 막 문을 불하래요.
It's true.
아우, 나 몰라.
I love it. Like, what do you hags want?
또 뭐?
그게
He said
인사야?
more.
어디.
That's right. Boy knows evil when he sees it.
애순이 불편하게.
Yeah, he's not messing around with his wife.
너 며느리가 나 며느리보다 위는
The way
위다.
she keeps shading her daughter and like,
진짜
말 말라. 다 떠들어야 하는 거 아니다.
감사했습니다.
I knew he was gonna say it.
이제 너지 가라, 너지.
Aw, at least she's not miserable. He bought you a house. No more one bedroom. And considering how much y'all get busy, probably a good idea. Your kids need some peace. Cute. Modest. We love it. Oh, and your mama's picture's back where it belongs.
또 넘어오고.
Wait, did he buy their old house? Oh, that's right. I forgot her stepdad, and then moved.
너 혼자 쟤 넘어왔어. 아이고 세상에.
He was not kidding when he called her a siren. She is so loud.
엄마 집이라 그렇게 좋았다며.
That man never
여기만
forgets a
오면.
single thing you say. That is love, ladies. Find you a man that listens to you. Not just hears you, but listens.
나 집 처음 가져봐.
So true.
그놈의 집. 뭔 놈의 구쟁기도 개딱지도 다 지집이 있는데.
Well, I mean, they grow it, to be fair.
좋아?
응. 좋아.
That's the only reason he does anything. Always crying when she cries. Man is so soft. Tread lightly, girl. That man's heart is literally all the way in your hands.
더
A
큰
bigger,
집 사올게.
sir, calm down. Let's just get this mortgage paid off if it is in fact paid off. Please. Jacked up your finger already. Please. Please take time.
자개. 저 통영 자개. 준 거 아니고 새 거. 새
I don't know. We
거에다가
got nice stuff. Brand new stuff for once.
자개장이 있던 아파트로 이사 가고도 둘은 오래오래 그 자개장을 못 버렸다.
It has very sentimental value. I get that. First thing they ever bought that was their own, that was brand new.
그 쨍쨍하던 그들의 여름날
So they did have
같아서.
3 kids. Okay. That's what they said they wanted. Well, what she said she wanted was 3. Oh, she's dreaming. That's right. This is her house she grew up in. She'd remember.
지각시가 만삭인데 오징어 배로 왜 맨날 타?
그 오징어 잡아서 집 산 거거든.
She remembers her mother accurately. Her mom was not exactly the kind that was going to say chalesto. She is much more of a, let me find something else that's wrong.
돌아고 있어.
Okay, where's the message in that? Does she need a truck now? She didn't have that baby, did she? Or keep that? Because she only showed 2 kids in the future.
지금 옆집 아줌마한테 가가지고
So she knew she was going to labor. That's why she was focused on the truck. Who are you possibly? Oh, you're trying to alert people. I'm like, there's no traffic out here. Did she have the baby? Because we did not see a 3rd child. I don't remember seeing a 3rd child in that first flash forward.
둘째, 셋째, 내리 아들이시니 너 며느리가 나 며느리보다 위는 위다. 이 중에서도
He's like, I know you're talking about me, and so I'm gonna smile. Cutie pie.
거요.
Oh, the full nuts.
외할망이 바다시민 뭐.
Oh, now maternal grandmother's a good person after you cursed her the whole. These people. My son's a better person than me because you would not be in my house.
애순이 사주에 복대가리 없대더니.
Let her know. Let her know what a hypocrite she is. Thank you.
반대하는 사람 없었잖아.
Oh, you're teaching now. What happened to your fishing boat days? Oh, you're gambling. Never mind. I should have known teaching would be above you, sir. That sounds a lot more like it.
그리고 출마해도, 에?
And you don't qualify. You probably can't even read. Get out of here.
했지. 그 앞에 붙잡는 게 그렇게 싫더라고. 어차피 후보 없어서.
Wow, look at the influence she already has. I agree. It's a democracy, isn't it?
아, 여자가 겨장하냐?
Why not?
왜? 쫄려요?
Exactly. Are you scared? Because it sounds like you're scared.
부회장 시켜줘. 투표 가서 망신당하지 말고.
Right? It's like, you know you're going to lose. Just give her the damn title and shut up because you know she's going to do all the work anyway.
도독미 최초의 여성 부통령이 났다.
As she deserved. If it wasn't for sexism, she would have been president or chief or whatever it's supposed to be. And president like she should have been as a kid. Oh, she always keeps a brightener. I wonder if her husband bought her that one too.
왜 거기 누구 있어? 나와봐.
It's a woman's bathroom?
아저씨가 여기 왜 들어가요?
Do you not see the sign?
너 나 좋아하냐?
어?
왜 내가 가는 데마다 이렇게 맨날 나타나?
No, you are where I am.
왜? 미련 있어?
When I want to throw up.
아쉬워?
Not even a little. Get off, bro. Exactly.
편안해지니까 이제 아주
Dancing's illegal now? Okay. Ugh, those toilets terrify me. Is that safe for the baby?
배달 따서 애국하셔. 천지가 개벽을 해봐라.
Thank God this man is vain. Damn bloody shoes.
저 애까지 펼쳐없고. 흥남부도 나셨네.
Yeah, let's go with that. That's right. Keep your cameras to yourself, you pervert. Not that Spartan jump, though. That man's still high-key in love with her, though, even though he only met her 2 times.
나 진작 사고 쳤어요. 내가 죽든지 내가 죽이든지.
Well, if there's candidates you were looking for.
계장님이 댁에서
What do you think?
집에서 내 이름이 학시잖아요. 학시.
Literally, just put a little something, something in his soup. That's all you need to do, girl. You need to get away from that man. You really need to get away from that man.
진짜로 아저씨가 사다 줘요? 다들 그러던데.
Ever since they were babies.
코딱지만한 동네 남의 머리통에 관심 없는.
Right? Mind your business. She's just wishing she had a man like that.
옛날보다 귀티가 나요. 진짜 인생 따라가나 봐요.
Definitely has an effect.
학시.
That's not her name.
아, 수틀리면 때려쳐요.
And go
뭐
where?
대단한 상점 모시고 산다.
Live where? Do what?
진짜로 안 아쉬워요?
Not even a little.
왜 내가 가는 데마다 이렇게 맨날 나타나?
Oh, that's how she found out.
아쉬워?
And the worst part is he would. If A-Sun wanted him back, he would dump his wife right now and go back to her.
왜 한 번만 봐? 더 좀 만나보시지.
Why?
그럼
So I can hate him more?
이 집 아저씨 같은 사람한테 시집 가라. 응?
That was a weirdly backhanded compliment. Anyway, the Lord protects who he needs to protect because, ma'am, to be married to a man like that.
문자는 문학 소녀가 써줘야지.
That is your job. Come on. Get down here. Get your hands dirty, girl.
용왕님이 배 뒤집는데 배가 도로 못 돌아온대.
나는 그런 거 안 믿어.
아이, 그런 말 하지 마.
Has he ever believed in a single piece of that superstition? Thank God he didn't. You think he would have
나한테
married you?
내순이 금명이 은명이 동명이가 신이지.
Period.
우리 집으로 갈 거야.
Y'all are his world.
그러니까 복덩이라며. 복덩이가 써줘야 재수가 왕창
You
주지.
really are. Like, that boy's life would have been god-awful miserable if you hadn't come into it.
된 그런 세상을 주기 싫어서
Exactly.
엄마
Come on, mama. I didn't even know that superstition existed in Korea. Silliness. You know how long women have been on boats? Been the mast of boats? Come on now. But yeah, no, thank goodness. Imagine if Guanchek believed in all the nonsensical types of superstitions there were about her for being a more orphan, etc. They never would have gotten married.
재수가 없어 왜?
Look at her talking like she believed it the whole time.
용왕님, 신령님 다 뒤끝 있다며.
Right? He's like, just wondering about 5 minutes ago.
우도먹기는 내가 차린 거 우도먹고 왜 괜히 재수는 없대? 사례방택이잖아.
침 뱉어 침.
Don't encourage the bad behavior, Dad.
뭐든 길러내는 여름의 기세에 내 어린
Oh, I love it.
부모가
I love that he loves her most when she's being defiant and like what a lot of other people in this generation would have considered to be unmanageable. That's when he loved her the most. Like he said, she's the funniest person he knows.
우리 진짜 미쳤나 봐.
좋아?
I love that he always checks in.
좋아.
And she always cries when she's happy, yes. Oh, cheeky. 3 kids is enough. Back up. Get off of her.
그때는 아직 여름을 다 모르고.
Good things, I hope. God knows she deserves it. Wow, 2 episodes that actually ended on something good. I'm scared. This K-drama is really making me a bit nervous, guys. It's making me a little nervous. But anyway, I mean, I'm trying to think back to our first episode. That's kind of our best indicator as to where things went. We see that, you know, back in the first episode, A-sun is now living in what I would say is a retirement community, potentially. She's back on, well, still in Jeju. We don't know where she is in the 90s because that looks like they're in an apartment building, which I don't know a lot about Jeju. I don't know if they've got a ton of apartments, but almost everything I've ever seen of Jeju, it's primarily tourism resorts or houses, right? Because it's a lot of farms and, you know, agriculture. So my guess is they must have moved to the mainland for a while, and then potentially she's now back there, which makes sense. If she's retired, she would want to go back to where she, you know, where she grew up. But yeah, she was alone, I think, is the main thing to look at. We didn't see her husband, and we know statistically men don't typically outlive their wives, but I don't know. I'm trying not to be negative here. I've watched so many K-dramas, guys. Usually something crazy happens by now. So the fact that so far the worst thing that's happened is that A-sun's lost her mom is kind of crazy. You know, I mean, obviously she had trials, but I'm talking about, like, K-dramas usually love the dramatic stuff. They usually love to throw in some deep tragedy, and so I'm a little surprised, and I must have just missed in the first flashback to the 90s, I must have missed the other son, because I remember her daughter sitting on the couch, and now who we know is her sister-in-law on the couch, and then we had a boy in the kitchen. We didn't see another child, so I was like, oh, where did the third son go? So maybe it just wasn't shown, or I missed it, but anyway. Yeah, this was, again, just the continuation of things. We only flashed forward once, and that was just to hear A-sun talking to her eldest daughter and basically saying that, you know, she's become very frugal and that she kind of had to become very frugal because of what happened in their younger years, but that she doesn't mind it, you know, like she just said, you know, I was poor and I basically had to figure it out kind of thing. But other than that, we basically just focused on their lives from that point of moving out to that 1-bedroom place. We picked up exactly where we ended the last one. I thought we would have another time jump, but we didn't. And yeah, we see that unfortunately after Gwon-shik quit his job with that so special man, unfortunately, he couldn't find work again because, like he said, he was the chief. So he told everybody, don't hire him. Anyone with a boat was not to hire him. And, you know, small communities, unfortunately, certain voices carry more weight, even if that voice is stupid. And so it got hard. He wasn't able to find a job fishing, which is basically the only thing he knew how to do. That's what he'd been doing since he was a child. So he didn't have other skill sets. And we see that after months of being unemployed, he tried going to work in labor work, but he doesn't have any skill in that, right? Most labor work, you need to be able to do something. I don't know what kind of building they were doing, but you would need to have some level of trade skill, and he'd never learned any, and I guess they were not in the mood to train him or apprentice him. So he was just without work for, it looks like, at least a few months, and it was driving him nuts. And it was really, what I really love about these two is that they're both very in tune to each other, right? Like, if you look at the earlier parts of their relationship, it definitely seemed like A-sun was less in tune with what Gwon-shik needed, or maybe even seemed a little less emotionally attached to him, but craziness that comes at her, but deep down, big fat softie and fiercely protective and loyal to the people she loves. And she loves Gwon-shik so much. Like, that's her first and only, well, not only, now she's got her kids, but you know what I'm saying? Before that was her only person that ever truly had her back for as long as she could remember, other than her mother. So she loves him so much, and she's so protective of him. And we saw that, like, when he wasn't working, he kind of got a bit depressed, which was understandable because Gwon-shik, like, well, she told us, right? She was like, you've been working since you were 10, but you know, you're entitled to take a little vacation, right? But you know, some people are like that, and I can see Gwon-shik being one of those people. Like, I don't think being idle suits him at all. I think he feels better when he's doing something or working towards something that helps him feel more useful. And he's a very simple guy, right? He's not a guy with a lot of crazy ambition as far as, like, you know, wanting to climb this ladder or that ladder. He's got a very singular and very simple but beautiful focus, which is his family. He loves A-sun to death, and he literally lives to make her happy. That's all he wanted since he was a kid. All he ever wanted was for A-sun not to be burdened, scared, sad. He just wanted her to be happy and comfortable. And so that's kind of his singular mission. As long as she's happy, he's happy. That's all there is to it. Like, like I said, he is a simple, steadfast, reliable man. And so when he wasn't working, he clearly felt like he wasn't able to do those things for her. And he also knew that the stress was there for her as well, right? Because understandably, she's worried about him. She's also worried about her daughter because she's got to feed her. She's pregnant at that time, knowing another mouth's coming to feed, and they don't have money for food, right? And she's grown up in hard times. I think, unfortunately, she has gone to bed hungry. She knows what that feels like, and she doesn't want to live that way, and she definitely doesn't want to put her kids through that. So that all sitting on Guan-shik is like, I love that, you know, the Guan-shik's character is so relatable in that he doesn't say a lot, right? And so many of the men in A-sun's life have been yappers, but not in the good way. Like just complainers, bitchers, whiners, never want to get anything just done, just want to complain about everything. Her uncle, useless. Her stepdad, useless. The man she could have married, thank God she didn't, useless. But they do a lot of this. A lot of useless air being popped out, even her in-laws. I actually kind of understand why Guan-shik is so quiet. He's much like his father, actually. We don't see much of Guan-shik's dad, but I think him and his dad are very similar in that both of them just kind of, you know, in that house, between Guan-shik's mom and his grandmother, God, they couldn't get a word in edgewise even if they wanted to. But anyways, I really like that they realistically show that Guan-shik is someone who, he carries his burdens alone for the most part. You never see him whine and complain. He opens his mouth when he needs to. He definitely stands his ground when he needs to. But otherwise, the man is like, I'm chill. Like, I don't really need to be talking like that. And I mean, it's a good and a bad thing. I mean, I think it's good in the sense of, I've seen so many couples where one partner's the yapper and the other person's more the listener. And we all know that A-sun is a yapper. So I feel like that balance actually works really well for her to have somebody that's quieter and just kind of lets her say her thing. But also, I think Guan-shik's just someone who likes to handle things on his own. A-sun's like that too, but you know, he wants her to rely on him, and he takes that very seriously, clearly. And as I said, it's not the healthiest, and that I do wish he would talk to somebody. But in the end, I feel like it's also a thing where I don't think Guan-shik takes things too deeply either. Like, I don't think he's an overthinker. Let's put it that way. I think he's somebody that, as long as he has an objective that he can work towards and that he knows what he's doing, and he can go do that thing, and his family is good, that's enough for him. Like, he really is not worrying about nothing else. And that's a good thing, right? Keep your life as stress-free and uncomplicated as you can for a good life, for longevity and less stress. But anyway, we do see that he does go through that depression when he really can't do anything. And I love that A-sun she definitely locked into it and did what she could. Because, you know, you heard her friends and the other fishwives being like, well, you know, does he talk? Like, what can you do? And she's like, you don't talk to me. Like, you don't talk to anybody. Like, that's Guan-shik. He just suffers in silence. He's always been that kid. So, like, I got to do what I can do. But, you know, her just being there and trying to cheer him up and stuff, like, that's all that Guan-shik really needed. And so anyways, eventually we see that thankfully help came from the most. And now I think that money they got were the apartment that was, remember the room was paid for 3 months and they didn't know who did it. I now think it was her grandmother on her dad's side. She probably came in and paid for it quietly and then just didn't say anything for obvious reasons. But anyway, coming back, they got unexpected help from a place neither of them would have definitely thought, and that was from her grandmother on her dad's side. But I'm not that surprised because I think, you know, since the beginning, we've seen that the grandmother on that side has been very quiet compared to her mother-in-law, her grandmother-in-law, I guess you would say. Her grandmother is very quiet, right? You know, it was always her uncle that was always yelling and blustering and telling her that she's asking too much and blah, 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 blah. But the grandmother always just kind of just stayed silent for the most part. But you could see that every time she saw A-sun upset or crying, or even when A-sun's mom came and yelled at them for not giving A-sun any fish, like, you could see she felt shame. She didn't feel good about it. But like I said, unfortunately, with the way the societal construct is in Korea, but definitely back then, very patriarchal, very misogynistic. And even though, you know, the grandmother was technically the oldest there, which usually gives you more authority in the house, she's a woman, right? Her son was next in line, the one that was living, and therefore he was the head of the household. So there was only so much she could do because sadly her son had the authority to kick her out if he really wanted to. I don't think he would have, but the point is, you know, he could. So all that to say, she clearly was watching, and, you know, she couldn't always do things to help. But now we know it's not because she didn't necessarily want to help. It's because her useless ass son was gambling away every dime they had. So she knew that if he ever found out that she had money stowed away, he would never have left her alone till he got it and gambled all that away as well. And so anyways, we see in the end that she did. We find out that there was a beautiful moment between Asun's mother and grandmother where her mom, really shortly before she passed, came to her and just said, look, I don't ask for much, but I'm going to ask you for this. Like, if my daughter ever gets to the point where she comes to you for help, know that it's not because she's frivolous or lazy. She would have done everything she can think of, and she will be at her, like, literally at her wit's end if she comes to you, and I just beg that you help her one time. And I think the reason she said that was not only because it would be kind of crazy for someone to completely rely on a retired old woman to support them, but also because she knew that, you know, she kind of, well, first of all, she kind of owed her, right? Let's be real. It is her grandmother. And again, if her grandson had anything, that would have gone to Asun anyway. But I also think that she just, she knew that the grandmother had already dealt with 2 sons with gambling problems, right? So she is used to people squandering money and not being good with money and always needing money because they don't know how to take care of it. So I think that's what Asun's mom is really trying to emphasize, is that, you know, Asun's not that girl. Like, she's very responsible. She's hardworking. She bears burdens on her own all the time. She's not a complainer. She's not one to beg either. We've seen that throughout this series, that Asun has got pride for days. She will not beg unless she absolutely has no other choice. So like she said, if my daughter ever gets to the point where she humbles herself to the point of coming here where she knows how her uncle feels about her, to ask for help, it's going to be because she literally has nothing else, no other way, no other resource to pull from. So please just help her that one time if that comes to that. And, you know, no more, no less. That's all I ask. And so thankfully, the grandmother was like, I agree. Like, she knows that out of all of her living family right now, Asun is by far the most successful and the most useful, if we're being real. But anyway, I really love that she did that. And she came and she said, look, take everything that's in my bank account. I mean, I don't know if they did interest rates like that back in the day, but she said this money's been sitting there basically for over 30 years. Take it and buy a boat. And, you know, she's like, get yourselves back on your feet, because that's what they really needed, right? Because poor Guanxik couldn't work on any of the other boats. At least if he had his own, he would be able to obviously make his own money, have his own profits, hire his own crew. Again, he wouldn't need the chief's permission to go and do his job. So thankfully, that's exactly what they needed. And that was just the big turning point. And again, that story that we see that really touched her heart. Asun finding out that her mom was always looking out for her one way or another, even though she didn't always talk about it. And of course, we see Guanxik very touched by that as well, because, you know, he's also proud. He's proud in his own way. He doesn't ask for help either. But anyway, that's what happened. They got the boat, and we see that thankfully their fortunes really started to turn around at that point, because Guanxik is a hard worker. We knew that. And now that he didn't have anything in his way, like a jerk boss or having to divvy up his profits or any of that stuff, he was able to finally start making a lot more money. And thankfully just in time, because second child was here, they got the boy. And of course, once the boy child comes along, suddenly his mom and grandma, suddenly they come around. Suddenly Asun's not the demon anymore. Like, his side of the family is so infuriating. Short of his dad, because his dad for the most part has just been, his biggest crime has been being a pacifist. But I cannot stand the women in his family, honestly. They're so annoying. But anyways, they pop up again, and of course now they want to be around because they got the child that they want, the grandchild they want. But I'm glad that Guanxik, his rules stayed. Like, I love that when he came home that day when his mom and grandma are there, he's like, the first thing he said was not even hello, how are you? He said, what do you want? Why are you here? Why are you in the front of my wife? I thought you didn't want to see her no more. When y'all boxed her in her face and kicked her out of her house, I thought you said you didn't want to see her. What the hell you doing in my house eating my food, taking my golden spoon or my silver spoons? What you here for, right? But of course now they're all trying to, you know, play nice and suck up. And thankfully those women should be so thankful Asun is not a grudge holder. She should be. But, you know, Asun's always been incredibly understanding. And anyway, we see that things are, for the most part, going well for them. They even end up having their third child. And he buys her a house. They're able to get out of that 1-bedroom rental. He makes enough money. He buys them a house. It's the house that she grew up in, the house that Asun has. The handful of fond memories she has of her mom are there. And it's just a beautiful, thoughtful thing. Like, Guanxik just proves over and over and over again, like I said in the episode, that he not only hears his wife, he listens to her. He genuinely listens to everything Asun says. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's like, I feel like there's not a single thing, even a throwaway thing that Asun has said that man is not cataloged away somewhere. That is That's love, y'all. That is the dream. That is the aspiration. May all of us find, if you haven't already, may all of us find someone who loves us enough to hear us, listen to us, care about making us happy. Like the fact that he kept asking her, are you happy? Are you happy? Because that's what matters to Gonchik. That's what keeps him going, right? Even when he got the boat and he's watching A-Sun, flex the fact that her grandma bought this boat, and he's just grinning ear to ear because he can see that she's beaming, and his dad just looks at him and he's like, you really love her that much? And that's like the third time he's been asked that question. And he just kind of looks at his dad and he's like, I think she's funny. Like, I enjoy her. Like, I feel like, bro, like, your son literally jumped into the sea and swam like a good 20 minutes to get back to this girl. Like, yes, he loves her that much. Yes, that man has proven repeatedly he would literally give everything, including his life, for A-Sun. That woman is his world. That's just all there is to it. Because y'all can't relate does not mean it's not true for him. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, just really beautiful stuff there. Got the house. I love how the daughter is narrating everything, A-Sun's daughter, about how the very first thing they bought that was brand new was the closet, the the wardrobe. And it was a first brand new, not secondhand. And they said that even when they moved out of that house and moved to an apartment, they had to bring it with them because that's how much it meant to both of them. Well, most are probably A-Sun, but anything that makes A-Sun happy automatically becomes important to Gonchik. So, but yeah, we're kind of in the middle now. They've been married for a while, 3 kids deep, and I'd say it looks like they're about 8 to 9 years into their marriage at this point. I can't remember the exact timing of because they're in 78, right? 78 or 79 now. So yeah, I think they're about 10 years into their marriage now. So yeah, we'll see what happens now. And I keep wondering what's going to get them off the island though, because right now things look like they're pretty good in Jeju. So how do they end up in the apartment? How do they end up going to the city? I am very curious. So I enjoyed this. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please show some love, and I will see you in the next one.